Hello and welcome to the next installation of everything on my Physical TBR. I've done a number of these already. They're all in their own playlist, but I will link them down below so that you can find them should you wish to. I'm just going through every book on my Physical TBR by genre. People seem to like this, and to be honest, I like being able to categorize it, like visually, to see how much I have as I look around at the 16 stacks of nonfiction books around me. I counted them, I forgot the number, I think it's somewhere around 128. This is the monster video, all of my unread nonfiction books, because I'm going to find a way to separate my general adult fiction because I cannot do one video for that. So this will be the monster video. It's 128 books ish. There's so many. I kept pulling them off my shelves and then there were just more. And I don't understand how there were more. There were always more. So I'm going to get into this. This is going to take me 16 hours to edit. I hope you enjoy because I'm going to suffer. A Reporter's Life by Walter Cronkite. The 100-Year Walk, An Armenian Odyssey by Anahid MacKeen. Reconstructing Gender, a Multicultural Anthology by Estelle Disch. Writing Fiction, A Guide to Narrative Craft by Janet Burroway, Elizabeth Stuckey-French, and Ned Stuckey-French. Don't Cry by Mary Gaitskill. Writing with Power by Peter Elbow. Skeletons on the Zahara by Dean King. Agent Zigzag by Ben Macintyre. We wish to inform you that tomorrow we will be killed with our families by Philip Gourevitch. Neck Deep in Other Predicaments by Monson. Paper Love by Sarah Wildman. Let Us Water the Flowers by Jafar Yaghoobi. A Private War by Marie Brenner. Between Song and Story, edited by Cheryl St. Germain and Margaret L. Whitford. America Back on Track by Edward M. Kennedy. No Heroes, No Villains, The Story of a Murder Trial by Stephen Phillips. The Devil's Advocates, Greatest Closing Arguments in Criminal Law, edited by Michael S. Lief and H. Mitchell Caldwell. The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. The Story of My Life by Helen Keller. We Were Soldiers Once and Young by Lieutenant General Harold G. Moore and Joseph L. Galloway. Profiles in Courage by John F. Kennedy. The Sound of Music, The Story of the Trapp Family Singers by Maria Augusta Trapp. The Defense Never Rests by F. Lee Bailey. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Thunderstruck by Eric Larson. My Father's Country by Vibeke Bruns. Red Princess by Sofka Zinovief. The Ladies' Gallery by Irene Villar. Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. Creative Nonfiction by Philip Gerard. What Would Your Character Do by Eric Maisel and Anne Maisel. Women Who Love Men Who Kill by Sheila Eisenberg. A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Bea. The Fiction Writers Workshop by Joseph Novakovich. Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. Savage Beauty by Nancy Milford. A Lucky Child by Thomas Bergenthal. The Color of Water by James McBride. Blackwater by Jeremy Scahill. Mission at Nuremberg by Tim Townsend. A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. Isaac Storm by Eric Larson. How Soccer Explains the World by Franklin Foer. Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim by David Sedaris. In Our Defense by Eileen Alderman and Caroline Kennedy. To America by Stephen Ambrose. Lay Bare the Heart by James Farmer. The Supreme's Greatest Hits by Michael G. Trackman. The Courage of Their Convictions by Peter Irons. The Good Girls Revolt by Lynn Povich. This Boy's Life by Tobias Wolff. Public Enemies by Brian Burrow. Red Notice by Bill Browder. First They Killed My Father by Long Ong. Deep Creek by Pam Houston. Create Dangerously by Edwidge Dantica. Friday Night Lights by H.G. Bissinger. A Monk Swimming by Malachi McCourt. Riding Fury Home by Channa Wilson. The Memory Palace by Mira Bartok. The Distance Between Us by Raina Grande. Eisenhower, Soldier and President by Stephen Ambrose. Equal, Women Reshape American Law by Fred Strebe. Gathering the Missing Pieces of an Adopted Life by Kay Moore. My Father's Secret War by Lucinda Franks. The Sense of Style by Steven Pinker. Wreck This Journal by Carrie Smith. Text from Last Night by Lauren Lado and Ben Bader. Philosophy on the Go by Joey Green. An American Childhood by Annie Dillard. Plan B and Further Thoughts on Faith by Anne Lamott. Franklin and Winston by John Meacham. Senator Ted Kennedy, The Career Behind the Image by Theo Lippman Jr. Under Fire by Oliver North, Wave by Sonali Darren-Yagala, In Pain by Travis Ryder, Dark Salt Clear by Lamorna Ash, Robert Kennedy, His Life by Evan Thomas, True Compass by Edward M. Kennedy, Legal Method, Cases and Text Materials by Harry W. Jones, John M. Kernachan, and Arthur W. Murphy. All the President's Men by Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, Fast Girls, Teenage Tribes, and the Myth of the Slut by Emily White, Naked by David Sedaris, Flash Fiction, 72 Very Short Stories edited by James Thomas, Denise Thomas, and Tom Hazuka, Naming the World by Brett Anthony Johnston, Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafisi, On Writing Well by William Zinsser, Quarter Life Crisis by Alexandra Robbins and Abby Wilner, The Wrong Enemy by Carlotta Gall, My War Gone By, I Miss It So by Anthony Lloyd, In the Garden of Beasts by Eric Larson, Halls of Fame by John DeGata, Flash Nonfiction by Denty W. Moore, Surrender the Pink by Carrie Fisher, Imaginative Writing by Janet Burroway, The Weekend Novelists by Robert Ray, Martha Washington by Patricia Brady, Wishbone by Julie Marie Wade, Kennedy by Ted Sorensen, The Nine by Jeffrey Toobin, Refuge by Terry Tempest Williams, Tis by Frank McCourt, Teacher Man by Frank McCourt, The Elements of News Writing by James W. Kirshner, Amazing Women of the Civil War by Webb Garrison, Portrait Inside My Head by Philip Lopate, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil by John Berendt, Mrs. Lincoln by Catherine Clinton, The Writer's Way by Jack Rollins and Stephen Metzger, Criminal Law and Procedure by Daniel E. Hall, The Survivor by John F. Harris, Lawyer's Lawyer, The Life of John W. Davis by William H. Harbaugh, Elizabeth, The Struggle for the Throne by David Starkey, Right to Learn by Donald M. Murray, Home by Julie Andrews, The Buddha Walks into a Bar by Ladro Rinsler, How to Be an Explorer of the World by Carrie Smith, Leading Constitutional Decisions by Robert F. Cushman, A Place for Everything by Judith Flanders, Age of Cage by Keith Phipps, Blue Cats and Chartreuse Kittens by Patricia Lynn Duffy, How We Decide by Jonah Lehrer, Why Does the World Exist by Jim Holt, Don't Let Me Be Lonely by Claudia Rankine, and finally Rough Likeness by Leah Purpura. Now that I am fully surrounded on all sides by books, I've been through everything, I think. Sometimes I miss things. There were like 3 books that I pulled out that I had realized I'd already read. I just didn't look at them close enough, so it might have been slightly less than 128, but well over 100. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, what you thought of them if you have, how I should split up my general fiction shelves, because I hadn't really thought about it, but I'm not doing another 200 book video because I can't. That's way too much. But let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them if you have, if you would like to buddy read any of them. I know I have a lot of like weird law and political books. Those are mostly holdovers from my teen years because I was a weird kid. I still want to read them, but I don't have as much specific interest in them as I did at like 16, 17. So they will probably be on my shelves for a while longer as I very slowly get through them. But yes, talk to me down in the comments if you have any thoughts on any of the books I mentioned today, which was a great many of them. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all again soon.